If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
Portions of this show sponsored by Hudson Honda.
Joe Piscopo on the radio. You know, a brilliant journalist is Simon Owen, and he's kind enough to join us. Fox News radio correspondent. Love when Simon joins us. He's live from Helsinki. Simon, you are so kind to call us this morning again. Thank you, sir. What is the reaction over there to yesterday's summit, man?
Morning, Joe. Yeah, well, one of the newspapers here has a photo on its front page today at the moment when President Putin handed President Trump a soccer ball as a gift, and the headline underneath says, "Trump nothing, Putin won," in the style of a soccer match score, pointing to President Trump's refusal to condemn Russian meddling in his election. The briefest reaction as well from the Russians. The Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, quoted in Russian news outlets this morning, he described this meeting as fabulous, better than super. So nothing like the divisive response that President Trump has been greeted by as he arrived home. The Russians sound like they were very pleased with how this went. There were no major breakthroughs. The Russians didn't win any major concessions from President Trump on Ukraine or sanctions or NATO. But they did win that assurance, seemingly that acceptance from President Trump that he believes President Putin's denials of involvement in election meddling over the advice of U.S. intelligence agencies.
Simon, do they understand overseas that we feel here in America, most Americans feel that it is a witch hunt indeed, and that's what the president was trying to express. It was a witch hunt that we don't. There's the intel community in the United States of America right now is at a very tough time in the intel community. That's what, and again, the president could have done it certainly better, been more succinct in his answer to that AP question. But does the international community understand that we are very, very suspect of what we call the deep state in the United States?
Well, I mean, much of the international community, certainly here in Europe, is extremely reliant on U.S. intelligence. They work very closely together, and they have strong relationships, and there's huge respect for what the intelligence community does. I mean, I think on this occasion, it was news travels fast, and even though we're, 3,500 miles from Washington over here, we very quickly started to hear these statements from not just regular critics of President Trump, Senator John McCain of Arizona, not a surprise to hear from him. But, within an hour of this news conference finishing, we had a formal statement from the president's own director of national intelligence, Dan Coats. Yeah. He said, we've been clear in our assessments of Russian meddling, so we'll continue to provide unvarnished and objective intelligence. What President Putin said yesterday, he said that he wanted President Trump to win. He doesn't mind admitting that, but he said that doesn't mean Russia was involved. He said, isn't it natural to be sympathetic towards a person who is willing to restore the relationship with our country? But equally, there are many governments around the world. It's not just the U.S. where Russia is accused of meddling in elections. It's also happened it's been alleged that it's happened in Britain and in France. Big European powers. Countries have real concerns about the Russians getting involved in this. I think there are also I don't cover President Trump every day. I cover international news, so I just sort of pick him up sometimes when he's abroad.
Yes, sir.
But over the course of this past trip through Europe in the past few days, it's distinct investigations. The election meddling is one thing. The questions about collusion, that's kind of separate. And they seem to get conflated sometimes and linked together when you could call out President Putin if you wanted. But as you say, President Trump believes that there is something not right. And when he was asked about election, he often would go on to other subjects. He started talking about Hillary Clinton's emails and his margin of victory in the Electoral College on election night. This was a pretty, sometimes it seemed quite a rambling news conference. But the bottom line and what's going to be taken away from it, and as soon as he said it, it was clear that it was going to be taken away, was President Trump saying, he just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
Yeah, do you know, before we let you go, Simon, always appreciate your valuable time, sir, what went on behind closed doors with Putin and President Trump?
Well, it's a short answer, Joe, because we don't know. And this was just the two of them, accompanied only by translators, and those translators are presumably made to take a vow of silence.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You never find out, in theory, what goes on here. And these are two leaders who have been, sometimes economical with the truth, shall we say, on occasion. So I don't think we'll ever know what was discussed there. But they covered a lot of subjects, but they didn't make any breakthroughs.
All right, Simon, you are so kind to join us. I know you got to go. Thanks for joining us. You are welcome here anytime, Simon Owen. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Joe. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. To Simon Owen right there, Fox News radio correspondent, live from Helsinki, breaking it down. It just kills me that the international community is going to look at the president, just on the one little glitch that he did. I know. And everybody, the whole world is against the president. But it seems like it's unfortunate that the only thing is, at 8:30, is that when he had such bluster, when the president had such bluster with NATO and then with Theresa May and with Angela Merkel, and then I think we were expecting to see some of that bluster to Vladimir. Did you meddle? That would have been one little statement, and then he could have moved on like that.
Everybody knows this guy. No, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.